Welcome to Bay Sunday, everybody. I'm your host, Frank Malico. Good to have you with us. On tap today, an author. We're going to chat about the largest fashion show on the West Coast, a service sorority doing some great work in the community, and a nonprofit showing positive images of Asian Americans in the media. But first, a couple of plugs here. If you'd like to connect with us or pitch us a show idea, we'd love to hear from you as always. Go to cbssf.com, click on the connect button, and you can get all the information and links to our email and social media, Facebook, Twitter, the works. I think you know the drill by now. Now on to the show. Our first guest's latest book is probably something we all think about but often try not to, an apocalypse. The book is called Etiquette for an Apocalypse, and in the book she talks about this new world and the way things are handled and how life's small pleasures are dramatically changed with a big layer of dark humor just for fun. Great book, and here to talk about it is author Mendel. How are you?
Good, great intro.
Yeah, well, very good. Well, we want to plug away here. First of all, this is pretty kind of a dark subject. How did you pick it? How did you go there?
I believe that hard times are coming down the corner, and I have this thought that there's lots of really, really good things that could happen from that, which is, most people never think that. But in fact, in Cuba, that's exactly what happened. They lost all of their fossil fuel overnight because of the collapse of the Soviet Union, and people's health got dramatically better. They lost massive amounts of weight. Diabetes too disappeared. Communities flourished. All kinds of wonderful things. So I started thinking, I want to write a book where bad things happen and it creates really, really the things that we're longing for.
Yeah, we really get back to the basics. I think only because we have to. Let's talk about the book a little bit. Give us a thumbnail sketch. It's a dark comedy laced with all kinds of great humor about a family that goes through this apocalypse, and it's written through the words of Sophie.
Sophie ends up having to live in her mother's apartment. She and her mother don't get along. With her family, which is a relatively average American family, because I didn't want it to be full of superheroes and, you know, Clark Kent turning into Superman. So we have this very average family trying to struggle through this very hard time with famine and plagues and all kinds of terrible things, and they managed to make a go of it as a family, and they pull a community together. And they get involved in a serial killing.
Yes.
They aren't serial, they go looking for a serial killer. And then they have to end up taking on the emerging power structure in order for the community to survive.
No, it's based in Portland. And that's where you live now. How is the city of Portland? Have they put their arms around it?
The people I've talked to certainly have.
There you go.
I mean, Portland's, if you're going to have to be in an apocalypse, Portland's a great place to be.
Well, it's interesting how we all adapt when we have very little. You know, all of a sudden, no iPhones, there's no iPads. You know, you're having termite soup and all these wonderful things. But you know, maybe there's a sense of hope because your characters adapt and they learn to live with this without it.
Well, one of the big things I'm pushing as I go around the country is the whole idea of learning resilience now. That it is possible to learn to be a more resilient, flexible person. And the sooner you learn it, the better it's going to be in terms of any hard times, because anybody can get caught up in a tornado or a hurricane or some terrible storm. And resilience is the quality that's going to get you through.
Well, it's amazing. After a natural disaster, we all go into this survival mode. You know, we need shelter, we need water, you know, and we need clothes. You know, and that's kind of what the family's doing it in kind of a dark humor kind of way.
Right. Exactly. But you have to figure out how to get along with your neighbors, because you cannot, almost no one can do it by themselves. And getting along with our neighbors is a really tricky thing these days.
Yes.
Really tricky. I find that I'm a very judgmental person. And I have a hard time working with people that I disagree with fundamentally. So my job right now is to really work on working with people that I disagree with and building my tolerance, and that's the way I'm trying to make myself more resilient, because I think my entire future rests on that ability.
So true. Etiquette for an Apocalypse was the name before the book, in the middle, or after? Did you come up with it?
In the middle. I had about 20 titles before I finally came up with that.
Yeah. Well, it's so apropos. And you brought me some, tell me why you brought me some chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, very important. I have a survival guide blog online, and my major tip, number one, is take chocolate chip cookies to your neighbors now. They're the people that are going to be pulling you out of the sinkhole. And it's true. And we've got to start making friends with our neighbors.
Very good. Well, we wish you all the best with the book.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks so much for
much.
coming in. I appreciate the
Absolutely.
cookies too.
Absolutely.
And stay right there and don't go away just yet. If you'd like a copy of Ann Mendel's book, Etiquette for an Apocalypse, at our website, go to annmendel.com. She's also got a book signing at Book Passage, Corte Madera, on Monday night, starts at 7 o'clock. Back with more Bay Sunday right after the break.